You know, for the longest time, navigating the internet just felt like driving down this massive, endlessly expanding highway.
Oh, absolutely. A very crowded highway.
Right. And like if you wanted people to find your business or your research, the strategy was pretty straightforward. You build the biggest, brightest billboard you could afford and you planted it right at the busiest intersection. I mean, that was classic SEO. You rank #1 on Google, you get the eyeballs, and you win the game.
Yeah, but if you've searched for literally anything recently, you know that old rule book is practically dead.
It's totally dead. And that is exactly why today we are doing a deep dive into a really fascinating guide called Mastering Google AI Overviews and AI Mode Optimization. So our mission for you today is simple. We want to shortcut your learning curve on what is now being called AEO, or Answer Engine Optimization.
Which is a huge shift.
It is. Because whether you are prepping for a massive strategy meeting tomorrow or, you're just insanely curious about how Google's new AI actually decides what to show you, we are going to reveal the new playbook. Because if classic SEO was about building that giant billboard on the highway, the new AEO game is totally different. It's like trying to be the single trusted expert that a genius robot calls on the phone when it needs a quick fact.
I love that analogy. It captures the shift perfectly. I mean, the billboard relies on passive traffic, just driving by, but waiting for the phone to ring. That means you actually have to be in the robot's contact list to begin with.
Exactly. You have to be someone they already want to call.
Right. And to understand how to get that call, we really have to look at the playing field. The guide emphasizes that treating the whole AI search experience as just one monolithic thing is a critical strategic error. Google obviously uses two very different surfaces to deliver information now, and they operate on completely different logic.
Two surfaces. Let's break those down, because this is where I think a lot of people are getting tripped up.
Totally. So the first surface is called AI Overviews, or AIOs for short. The guide refers to this as the summary layer.
Right, the summary layer.
Yeah, it's essentially a frictionless experience.
Yeah.
You ask a question, and Google just does the reading for you. It returns this highly confident, synthesized answer immediately at the top of the page, complete with cited links.
And it seems to trigger mostly on informational queries, right?
Yeah.
Like your hows, whys, what is, or clarifying questions like which is better.
Exactly. The operative word there is frictionless. The AIO layer is designed to give you the answer without making you, click through 4 different websites to piece a conclusion together yourself.
Which is great as a user.
Oh, it's amazing. But that is only half the equation. The second surface is called AI mode, which the guide labels the journey layer.
The journey layer. All
Right. So this is not a static summary box. It's a conversational, multi-step interface. It triggers when you're not just looking for a quick fact, but you're refining a search, comparing nuanced options, or planning something complex.
So it behaves much more like a guided research assistant.
Exactly. Like an assistant helping you along a journey.
Okay, so treating these two layers the same is the big trap. You can't just write a good summary and expect to win both. So it's like, if AIO is your sharp 30-second elevator pitch, then AI mode is the 2-hour follow-up meeting where you bring all the charts and the data and the contingency plans.
Yes. And you would never bring a 2-hour slide deck into an elevator.
Right. That would be absurd.
Just like you wouldn't give a 30-second pitch when someone has blocked out their whole afternoon to really understand a complex topic. AIO rewards highly extractable evidence-backed answers. But AI mode, on the other hand, rewards entire content ecosystem.
Ecosystems, got it.
Yeah, hums of information, deep comparisons, and follow-up coverage. You have to match your content strategy to the surface the user is interacting with.
Okay, so now that we understand the two playing fields, the logical next question is, how does Google actually populate them? Because it feels like magic to the user. You type a question, and boom, a perfectly written paragraph just appears.
It does feel like magic, but the guide breaks down the under-the-hood pipeline that gates absolutely everything.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, there's a specific 5-step flow the AI goes through to decide whose content gets to be the source material. It starts with interpretation. The AI has to identify the user's intent, the constraints of the query, and the sensitivity of the topic.
So it's trying to figure out what I actually mean, not just what I typed.
Precisely. And the optimization implication of that interpretation phase is massive. It means the system is no longer just matching isolated keywords.
Right, the old way.
Yeah, it relies on semantic alignment now. Instead of looking for exact phrases, the AI uses vector embeddings to map the Well, the mathematical relationship between the user's question and the text on a page.
Wow. Okay, so it's looking at question clusters and the contextual meaning behind the words.
Exactly. And once it understands that intent, it moves to step 2, which is retrieval. It pulls candidate sources from its massive index.
And if your content lacks topic depth, you aren't even entering that retrieval pool, right?
You're completely invisible to it.
Yep. Okay, I want to pause on what happens next, step 3, because this completely shifted how I view search. After it retrieves those candidates, the pipeline goes into a phase called fan out.
Yes, fan out. This is crucial.
So the guide says this is where the AI breaks complex prompts into sub-questions and retrieves information across each of them. But wait, let me make sure I'm grasping the scale of this.
Sure.
When I ask a long, complex question, Google isn't just taking my entire sentence and searching for an article that matches it. It's secretly chopping my question into multiple, smaller sub-questions behind the scenes.
It is. It's running parallel searches simultaneously. So, say you ask, what is the best electric car for a family of 5 living in a cold climate?
Okay.
The AI knows it won't find one single perfect sentence that answers that objectively. So it fans out. It silently searches for electric car seating capacity, then EV battery performance in winter, and top-rated family EVs.
Oh, wow. So it's doing like 3 or 4 searches at once.
Exactly. It retrieves candidate sources for all those distinct subqueries, brings them back to the table, and only then does it move to step 4, the synthesis phase.
So it gathers all these disparate puzzle pieces from different sources, and the large language model actually composes the custom response.
Right, which leads right into the final phase of the pipeline, step 5, the citation. The AI chooses which sources to actually attribute and link to.
And it bases that on the semantic alignment we talked about, right? Plus structural clarity and credibility.
Exactly. And we really need to dispel a massive misconception right here.
Oh, the hallucination thing.
Yes. There is a prevalent myth that Google's AI just hallucinates, that it operates like a creative writing bot, just making up facts out of thin air.
Right, everyone says that.
But the reality of these answer engines is that they are deeply grounded in retrieval. The LLM is actively trying to synthesize real information from its index of candidate sources.
So it's not just guessing, it's reading what's out there.
Right. Your goal is not to trick an algorithm into ranking you. Your goal is to become the absolute best, most verifiable candidate source for that synthesis.
Okay, so if the final step is the citation, how do you actually earn that link in the AIO summary layer? Because, I mean, a link in that summary box is the new holy grail of digital traffic.
It really is. And the guide points out that to win AIO, you have to master this concept called extractability.
Extractability.
Yeah, you have to remember the AI is operating on a really tight computational deadline. It needs facts, and it needs them cleanly formatted.
Got it. So what makes a page extractable?
Well, the guide outlines specific traits that make a page citation friendly. And it starts with a huge one, the requirement for a direct answer in the very first 2 to 3 lines of your page.
In the first 2 to 3 lines.
Yes, no warm-ups, no lengthy introductions.
I have to say, this speaks to a deep personal frustration I think we all share. Does this mean we finally get to kill the 10-paragraph story about someone's grandmother's farm before getting to the actual chocolate chip cookie recipe?
Oh, absolutely. Those days are definitively over. The AI will not dig through your childhood memories to find the baking temperature.
Thank goodness. So if your best insight is buried in paragraph 9, you are writing for the archives, not answer engines.
Exactly. You lead with the answer and you prove it after.
But it's not just about putting the answer at the top, right? It's about how you structure what comes next.
Right. The guide talks a lot about structured expansion.
Like using obvious sections, bullet points for key takeaways, step-by-step numbered lists, and clear trade-offs.
Exactly. You have to think of formatting as an API wrapper for your text.
An API wrapper. That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, because large language models, they do not read pages the way humans do. They parse tokens. So when you use structural elements like bulleted lists or data tables, you are essentially pre-packaging your facts into easily extractable JSON-like nodes.
Oh, I see. So you're basically feeding it the data in the exact format it wants to consume it?
Exactly. The LLM can grab those nodes with incredibly high confidence.
Yeah.
But if you just give it a giant wall of narrative text, the AI has to work way too hard to parse the relationships between the concepts.
And it just gives up.
Pretty much. It will
Yeah.
simply move on to a competitor's page that is structured more clearly.
That makes so much sense. You are reducing the cognitive load for the machine.
Yeah.
And the guide says you also have to back up that structure with evidence that boosts the AI's confidence, right? Like specific numbers, clear definition.
Yes, cues that explain how you actually know this information. This is precisely why brochure language or heavily salesy content gets completely ignored now.
Right. So if your page says, we offer the most synergistic, revolutionary marketing solutions.
The AI skips you. It cannot extract a verifiable fact from marketing spin. It needs clear, specific, sourced expertise.
Okay, so we have the clear, structured, evidence-backed answer. Is there anything else for extractability?
Yeah, once you have that, the final trait of a citation-friendly page is providing a clear next step path.
Like what?
A calculator, a template, a product finder, or maybe troubleshooting checklist. You transition the user from simply acquiring a fact to taking a meaningful action.
Okay, and the guide actually packages all of this into a blueprint, don't they? They call it the reusable answer module.
Yes, the reusable answer module.
It's basically a formula you can apply to your most important pages. Let me see if I have this right. You start with a 2 to 3 line direct answer, follow it with the proof of why it's true, provide options depending on the user's context, offer that clear next step, and then finish the page with 5 to 8 FAQ follow-ups.
You nailed it. It is like a perfectly compartmentalized meal for the AI.
A perfect meal. I like that.
And it is highly effective for the summary layer. But those FAQ follow-ups at the bottom of the module serve another critical purpose.
Oh, what's that?
They act as the bridge into the second phase of search we discussed earlier,
All right.
AI mode, the multi-turn journey layer.
Right, the journey layer.
Yeah, because a reusable answer module is great for a quick fix. But when a user starts digging deeper, an isolated page with a quick answer just isn't enough. You have to build what the guide calls a journey stack.
A journey stack. You know, I was reading that section, and it struck me that you are essentially building a safety net for every possible user hesitation.
That's a great way to look at it.
You start with the foundations, like the basic definitions of your topic, but then you actively build out comparisons, like explaining X versus Y, and then decision guides that teach the user how to choose between options.
And don't forget proof, like deep dive case studies.
Right. And finally, ownership content, which covers troubleshooting and maintenance.
Exactly. You are building out the entire follow-up ladder.
Yeah.
You're anticipating the next logical questions a user will have, because once they know what a product is, they immediately want to know the trade-offs.
Then they want to know the cost.
Right. Then they want to know how it compares to the leading competitor.
Okay, I have to challenge this follow-up ladder concept, though.
Okay, lay it on me.
It sounds brilliant in a strategy document, but in practice. If I am a creator or a small business owner listening to this right now, anticipating and building content for every single follow-up question sounds like an absolute logistical nightmare.
Oh, I totally get that.
Is this strategy actually feasible, or is this just a playbook for massive enterprise companies with infinite content budgets?
It sounds overwhelming if you try to cover your entire industry, which is exactly why the guide emphasizes extreme constraint.
Constraint. How so?
The strategy is to pick just 3 core themes and go incredibly deep on those alone. Breadth without depth wins nothing in AI mode.
Okay, so don't be a generalist.
Right. If you write 30 superficial articles about 30 different topics, the AI will never view you as a comprehensive journey for any of them. And honestly, you don't have to guess what the follow-up questions are either.
You don't?
No. You reverse engineer the fan-out process we talked about earlier.
Oh, the chopping up the question thing.
Yeah. Exactly. So if your core theme is solar panels, you know the AI is fanning out to subqueries about installation costs, weather durability, tax credits, and battery life.
Oh.
So you build your journey stack specifically around those known nodes.
Okay, so your goal isn't to write one single perfect 10,000-word master page. Your goal is to become the best, most interconnected path through a specific topic.
Exactly. The path is the product.
Got it. Okay, I want to pivot to the elephant in the room here.
Let's hear it.
For anyone listening right now, this all might sound incredibly abstract. I mean, if the traditional SEO goal of just tracking your rank for the #1 spot doesn't equal a win anymore, how do you actually measure success with AEO without losing your mind?
That is the ultimate classic SEO trap right now. Because in this new landscape, you can rank #1 organically and still lose the traffic game entirely.
Which is terrifying.
It is. You lose if you aren't cited in the AI overview, if your content doesn't match the summary format, or if your competitors are just simply more extractable and evidence-driven. Traditional ranking is just no longer a reliable proxy for visibility.
Which means we need a totally new way to measure performance. And the guide offers a beautifully simple, tool-free method for this, doesn't it?
It does. It's incredibly practical.
Yeah, it tells you to build a fixed query set. So instead of tracking thousands of keywords, you pick 25 to 100 queries that actually matter to your bottom line.
Right. And they recommend a specific mix, like 40% informational queries, 40% commercial investigation, your best ofs or comparisons, and 20% branded scenarios.
Right. Grounding this in reality makes it so much less intimidating. Like, imagine you run a local HVAC company. Your fixed query set shouldn't be every possible heating and cooling term in the dictionary.
No, definitely not.
It should be a static list, maybe 10 informational queries, like why is my AC freezing? 10 commercial queries, like best AC units for high humidity, and then 5 branded queries with your specific company name.
Exactly. And then every Friday, you just open an incognito window, type those specific 25 things in, and just log what is happening in that top AI box.
It literally takes 15 minutes. But what exactly are we logging? The guide lays out 4 key performance indicators, or KPIs, to track on a simple dashboard.
Let's go through them. Number 1 is the AIO incidence rate.
Incidence rate. Okay.
This simply measures the percentage of your query set that actually triggers an AI overview at all, because not every search produces an AI summary.
Right, like if I search for a specific website, it won't give me an overview.
Exactly. You need to know if the playing field even exists for your core topics before you spend all this time optimizing for it.
Okay, so the second KPI is citation share.
Right.
So of all the citations the AI gives out across your query set, how many actually belong to you?
Right. It's your slice of the pie.
And then you track the competitive citation share. You look at your top 3 competitors and see if they are getting cited more frequently than you are.
Which is so revealing. This tells you immediately who the AI currently trusts as the best candidate source.
Right. And the fourth KPI?
It is arguably the most important. Outcome delta.
Outcome delta. Sounds very scientific.
Well, because AI citations don't always provide traditional click-through metrics, you have to measure the actual business impact.
Oh, I see.
You look at the conversions, the lead quality, or the direct sales on the specific pages you've upgraded with reusable answer modules.
Yeah.
And then you compare that to their previous baseline performance.
So you're asking, are these AI citations actually driving valuable actions, or are they just vanity metrics?
Precisely. You have to connect it to the bottom line.
I love how actionable that is. You don't need a $1 million software suite. You just build a weekly tracking sheet with columns for the query, whether AIO is present, who got cited, your status, and notes on what format won that week.
Like, did a bulleted list win? Did a comparison table win?
Right. But the guide does warn about a major pitfall when setting this up, doesn't it?
It does. The absolute biggest mistake organizations make is tracking too much on week 1.
Right, the classic overachiever problem.
Exactly. They try to boil the ocean and map every possible keyword. But consistency beats complexity for the first 90 days.
That's great advice.
Just pick your constrained fixed query set, track those 4 KPIs manually, and do it every single week to spot the trends.
Okay, let's wrap this up and bring it all home for you. We have covered a massive amount of ground today on this deep dive, from the frictionless summary layers to the conversational AI mode journeys. We explored how the fan-out pipeline breaks down queries, why you need to build reusable answer modules with API-like structure, and how to measure it all with a fixed query set.
That's a lot to take in, I know.
It is. But if there is one absolute core message from this deep dive that you need to remember, what is it?
The guide synthesizes the entire shift into one incredibly powerful takeaway. SEO gets you eligible, AEO gets you selected and cited.
Wow. SEO gets you eligible, AEO gets you selected.
Exactly. Your old visibility tactics might get you indexed and put you into the retrieval pool, sure.
Yeah.
But only extractable, structured, evidence-backed content will actually get you picked by the AI to answer the user's question.
That is the new reality of the internet. But I want to leave you with a lingering question to ponder, something that builds on everything we've unpacked today. Think back to that giant billboard on the highway we talked about at the very beginning.
Right.
If AIO is now handling all the quick summaries, giving us verifiable facts instantly, and AI mode is taking users on these deep, multi-step conversational journeys, well, what happens to the traditional website?
That's the million-dollar question.
If we no longer actually browse the internet, jumping manually from page to page, but instead simply have a continuous conversation with an answer engine, what does the digital storefront of the future actually look like?
It's a profound structural shift to consider.
Yeah.
The entire architecture of the web seems to be moving away from visual presentation and toward pure, structured knowledge extraction.
Right. Our website's about to stop being visual places we visit and just become massive, invisible databases existing purely to feed these algorithms. It fundamentally changes what it means to publish anything online.
It really does.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Take these strategies, build those answer modules, map out your journey stacks, and keep asking great questions. We will catch you on the next one.